Hello, hello, Josie here. Are you ready for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And are you sure? Okay, here we go. I was reminded just now about a church member years ago. His name was Torrance. And he's a homosexual. He was probably, goodness gracious, 7 to 10 years my senior. Maybe a little bit younger than that, maybe 5 to 6 years my senior. He was basically in the age group of my brother Jay. So Jay is 4 years older than me. So like I said, it's probably like 5 to 6 years older than me. But Torrance was a part of the church that I went to, grew up in. And Torrance was a homosexual. He was a singer, not necessarily a musician, but a singer. He liked to sing. He was part of a gospel group. I believe he went to Prairie View A&M. Very popular, so on and so forth. And basically what ended up happening with Torrance is Torrance contracted HIV/AIDS. I don't know how it happened, how it went down, but there was a certain individual that would come to the church. I want to say he was a ward of the devil. And he would come to church, and he walked with a cane. This guy was... He would come to the church every now and again and just kind of hang around. He was friends with the organist whose name was Kenneth. Kenneth was a homosexual. He played the organ. And I believe that Torrance basically got his entrance into the gospel music scene and or the scene that he wanted to be a part of through this friend of the organist of the church, Kenneth. This friend was HIV positive, I believe he was, and he got very sick, and he had to use a cane to get around. But Torrance ended up passing away at a very young age due to HIV/AIDS. And I remember this happening. I did not go to the funeral, but I remember seeing him in an apartment complex that one of our church members lived in. And we used to go to this person's house for dinner after church. And I was walking through the complex and came across Torrance in his apartment upstairs, and he asked me to go and get my brother. And I don't know exactly what transpired and or what went down, but I do know that I came across and or ran into Torrance in his next 3D form. This person also had the name of, not Torrance, but Torrance. He had the name of Torrance. And this Torrance individual was older. He was white. He was a little bit more stockier. And he worked in the pharmacy department of Kroger. And I did not have really any problem with Torrance. I actually, in a way, kind of thought he was a little bit cute. He was kind of, in a way, in a roundabout way, my type. But his energy and his attitude was very just blah, you know? He seemed to have this stale, ornery face on him all the time, as if he had some kind of issue or problem with anybody that he had to deal with as a representative of the pharmacy. Anyway, I remember walking down one of the aisles in Kroger when I used to shop at Kroger. And I stopped shopping at Kroger because I saw a lot of the wickedness going on within Kroger among the people that worked there. And I did not want to have anything to do with the establishment, especially that location I went to, because I experienced just too much witchcraft and wicked behavior at that location whenever I went into that location. It was ridiculous the amount of witchcraft and behavior, reckless, wicked behavior that they were engaging in, and unnecessarily. And I did not, or was not aware of who I really was at that time. I was going through some other stuff and dealing with some other stuff, mostly transition and work, career. But I still picked up on some stuff that just did not sit right with me. And he was one of them. As I was walking through one of the aisles, he was alongside some Asian woman. And if you're not aware in regard to Asian, I'm not going to speak on it right now, but he had, to my knowledge, Torrance was a homosexual, to my knowledge. But this evening he was attached to this Asian woman, this older Asian woman. And I remember walking by him, and he had this glare in his eyes. He was glaring at me. He was giving me evil eye for some reason. Didn't know why, but I noticed it and picked up on it. And I found it to be really odd, But hey, Torrance passed away, and he basically was put into the 3D form of this Torrance fella. And what transpired between my brother and him many years ago in his apartment was there was an exchange. I don't know if there was an exchange between the visual eye contact that they made with each other, or if there was a sexual exchange and or where Jay injected into him or vice versa. I don't know how it worked out or how it transpired, but something happened that afternoon between my brother and Torrance, which Torrance had to come against me in some manner, shape, or form years later when he came across me because of whatever my brother promised him and or did for him in his final days. I don't know what that was exactly. But when I tell you, when you come against one of God's children based off of lies, and or you come against one of God's children because you want something and someone tells you they'll do something if you come against another person, and there's no reason, there's no justification other than your selfish reason, your selfish justification, you will suffer. You will suffer. And I guess there's a reason why I'm thinking about this Torrance that used to work at Kroger. I have not seen him in a long time and don't really care to see him ever again. I don't think he's doing well health-wise. He was an older guy, but I don't think he's doing well health-wise. And I think he's regretting, I believe that he is regretting his evil eyeing me and or his behavior towards me, because not only did it not work, but like I said, when you come against one of God's children for your own selfish gain or your own selfish justification, you will have to pay for that. You will have to pay for that. And I'm thinking about these people at this time because there's judgment coming down on these people's heads. So even if Torrance did move into this older white man's 3D form, when this person passes away, when this Torrance that worked at Kroger passes away, he's going to go into a different form, and it's not going to be the form that he desires. I believe what it was, a transporter. I just heard transporter. Transporter of souls. I just heard that. Transporter of souls. Maybe that has something to do with it. Transporter of souls into other 3D forms. Promising another person that you can transport them into the body that you desire, into the 3D form that you desire for your next lifetime. The devil is a liar. He was lied to by my brother. My brother promised him that he could do something for him, and he was not able to do so. I want you to think about it like this. And I'm not saying that this is exactly 100% accurate. I'm not saying that. I'm saying This is what I'm receiving right now. Anyone or someone that is positioned as a transporter of souls to their next 3D form, their next lifetime, anyone that has that responsibility, and they're of the devil and not of God, Torrance's behavior was devilish. He engaged in devil behavior. That's why he contracted HIV/AIDS, was because of who he entangled himself with, who he played with, trying to get something that he wanted, and he was tricked. He wasn't just tricked once, he was tricked multiple times. He thought Jay was going to be able to do something for him in the way of transporting his soul to the body that he wanted to be in. But no. That's not how it works. But he was told that he could do it. So, Torrance left behind someone that he was dating and or that he was partnered with prior to his passing. I remember reading his partner's, comments on his funeral page online, and basically saying that he misses him and that he knows that he's somewhere safe or something like that. But basically, he says that, he wishes that they could still be together. He misses him. He thinks about him all the time, every day. I believe what it was, Torrance thought that my brother could protect him and or put him into the vessel that he wanted to be in so that he can go and find his partner again and they could continue to be together. It's one of those things where when somebody passes, they move on to another 3D life form, and then they go and try to find the person that they were with in their previous life so that they can continue their love, their romance. I believe that was a story. But yeah, anyway, I believe that was a movie. But yeah, it's kind of like that. He was told or promised that that would happen, but he was lied to. And then in order for him to do it, him to agree to do it, he had to do something against me. He incorporated his brother, Toby, to do so. Because I remember I sold my amplifier and my speakers in my car to Toby, his brother, after he passed. Came across them. And there was something in regard to that because my brother was involved in that transaction. I just heard, you are in trouble. He's in trouble. Jay's in trouble. Jay's in big trouble. Jay turned a lot of people against me purposely because he wanted what was destined for me. So he enlisted a lot of people to attack me so that they could ultimately take me out so that he could take my place and get my blessings. He was always jealous of me. He was always envious of me. And he kept trying to take me out, but he was using other people to do so. When I tell you that my parents were not the only ones, my brother and my sister were also involved, as well as other family members too. It was a myriad of people. Jay's in trouble. He angered a lot of people. He made a lot of promises that he knew he couldn't keep, but he did them so that he can get what he wanted at the time. And he does not believe in karma. He does not believe in karma, and or he does not care about karma. He believes that he's strong enough to deal with anything that comes his way, but he's not able to deal with this. Because you have a lot of people in other forms that recall their past life, and they know the people that did them wrong. I want you to think about it like this as well too. Okay, so there are people that recall their past life, and they will go and they will find the people that affected them or that made them suffer or caused them harm or lied to them or cheated them, even abuse them. Not only abuse them, but okay, especially if they infected them. Let's say they gave them a disease, STD, HIV, or let's say they got them strung out on drugs, they won't, or they were lied to at the end of their life about what it was that, you know, they were going to receive in their next lifetime. They were lied to. They will go back and find those people and take them out and or affect their lives. And I believe that's what's happening with Jay right now. His life is being affected on many different fronts, many different areas. Where he once had protection and he had friends and he had allies, he doesn't have those anymore. They've turned their back on him. And Jay has a drug problem as well too. That's one thing I found very interesting about Jay. Jay always had this arrogant, uppity kind of attitude in regard to, oh, he doesn't have any addictions. He doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. He doesn't do any of that stuff. But he sold it. I believe he had a hand in selling drugs to other people. He sold lies to other people. He sold lies to other people. That's bad. That's still dangerous. That's bad. So now it's like he's now what he was so proud that he wasn't. He was so boastful and so haughty about it, like, oh, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, you know, like, I'm too good for that. I can control myself. I can control myself from engaging in those type of things. Well, now he can't. I believe it's alcohol. Oh, it's drugs too. Alcohol and drugs. He expected me to be the drug addict and or the alcoholic in the family because of how he abused me. He expected me to go to drugs and alcohol to deal with the abuse. So him raping me at a young age, there was a reason behind that, to subject me to abuse. His lying on me to other people, having other people to attack me, so on and so forth, that was another form of abuse. Turning people against me, turning my own friends against me. He turned quite a few friends to come against me by telling them lies. That was abuse. But all of those things are backfiring. They backfired on him because people realized that he lied to them and they came against the wrong person. They should have gone against him, but they came against me. And they know that they're receiving any kind of judgment or karma now because of the lies that he told them. I'm going to tell you like this, Jay. There's not a drug and there's not any kind of drink in the world that is going to make you to forget what you did to me and what you did to others. You're constantly going to be receiving judgment and karma for what you put other people through and how you lied to others. And that's why I was thinking about Torrance and Terrence. You get what you give. I'm going to leave it at that. You get what you give. Bye.